The MSR Hubba range has been Outside's best-selling tent range for years now. It's become the gold standard that so many other brands have sort of copied their designs, but they are still best in class. So when they said, do you want to test out our new ones, the LT and the HD, of course we said yes. So quite simply, the Hubba range has been really popular because it's incredibly light but incredibly spacious. I mean, they're the two things that most people really want from their tent. Obviously, staying dry is the other one. So when they split it into two, it was quite clear what they're trying to do with it. We've got the LT, which is slightly lighter than the old one, and we've also now got the HD, which is more burly but also lighter. So what I thought I'd do on this slightly damp Peak District day, I'm already really muddy, is show you the main features that they share on both these tents. A lot of the things are exactly the same, and then I'll show you what differs between the two. So I've got set up down here the HD, so the heavy duty. I haven't put the fly on it yet because I want to show you all the features. And over here I've got the LT all set up as well with the fly on, and I can show you their features as well. So a couple of things to know to start with. Both of these tents come in a 1, 2 and 3 person, but what's really cool about the new designs is, I'll show you with the 2 here, is the fact that it's a pure rectangle. So what I mean by that is some of the tents that look like they're a rectangle, often once you get in there, one end is a bit narrower than the other, which is fine for shoulders and sleeping and stuff like that. However, most mats, and everyone's favourite mats or pads, whatever you want to call them, seem to be rectangular now, so a bit comfy, a bit more like a bed. They pack so small, why not have the space? But they didn't always used to fit in tents in the past. So MSR have addressed that and made a true rectangle. What's really cool about that is the fact that when they're completely rectangular like that, it makes it miles easier to put up. You don't have to figure out color coding, anything like that, because it doesn't matter which way around your poles are, the fly is, anything like that, because it's the same both ends. But then one of the major plus points that I think most people are going to enjoy is the fact that the space inside now is bigger than the old one. Even though the weights have come down, the space inside is bigger. So everyone comes in the shop, when they're buying their pad or their mat, they go, oh, I want the big wide one, really comfy. But they don't think about the fact that 2 wide mats probably won't fit in their tent. They do now. So this is the 2-man I'm talking about. You get 2 wide, long mats inside a 2-man tent, which means it's really spacious. If you're on your own with 1 mat, you've got loads of room, which is really cool. So I'm 6'4", pretty tall. I've got the long, wide Neoloft here, which is like one of the biggest pads we've got. And actually it fits in there dead easy. And there's actually a little bit of space on the end. Unfortunately, I don't own 2 of them, so I can't quite show you, but another normal regular mat in there, and you can see it's just rattling around because there's so much space now. So setting them up actually feels exactly the same as well. And it's a bit similar to the old one, in fact, really similar. The fact that it feels like it's 1 pole. It's sort of 2 big wires with a crossbar at the top, and that just makes it so easy to put up. You plug the corners in, and then once you've got the crossbar set up, it just easily clips in and it's up. So I don't have the 3-man to test, but something that looks really cool with the 3-man is it again will take 3 of those big pads, the wide, long pads, so loads of space in there. What that does mean is it can double up as a 4-man tent, because if you've got 4 regular mats or pads, you can actually turn them the other way and get 4 inside. So yeah, 3 luxurious people sleeping in there, or 4 a little bit more squeezed, will fit inside a 3-man. Everything about setting it up, the poles and the clips and everything feels really high quality. They're using DAC poles, which seem to be best in class. The clips are nice and durable. They've also got all new metal hardware, as they call it, where you clip the pole in, and that just works really well, particularly when you're pegging it out and pulling it out. And then when you move over here and you can see the fly, I really like the little tightness here, so you can do it up nice and loose and then tighten it whenever you're ready. Even the pegs are beautiful. You get 8 of these little groundhog stakes, which really go in securely and easy to clean when they're muddy, which I found out today. Another little feature I really like is these little gutters you've got above the doors, so when it's raining, all that water just sort of runs down there. You can see it pouring out the bottom rather than just falling straight into your porch. Something I think is really important and worth mentioning is the rain fly, the inner, the mesh are all now solution dyed and PFAS free. So that saves up to 80% carbon emissions compared to their old manufacturing process. So I know you're all dying to know the weights, because let's be honest, there's a lightweight and a heavy duty. Do bear in mind that the old 2-man Hubba Hubba weighed in at, I think it was 1.78 kilograms, so really, really light. We've now got the LT down to 1.34 kilograms. That's light. Consider it's now bigger as well than the old one inside. And the heavy duty only comes in at 1.61 kilograms. So again, still lighter than the old one, even though there's more space and really burly. And both of them pack super small. I really like the little bags they come in as well, so none of that shoving them in. It sort of drops in and it's a roll top, so no matter how badly you might have packed it, it seems to go away really easily. So here inside you can see the space, 6'4" of idiot on a long, wide, big pad. Absolutely tons of room. In fact, I'm not even touching the end. You see the regular pad here, absolutely rattling around, loads of space. Once you're in here as well, there's quite a lot of headspace. If you're caught in a storm and in your tent for a while, you won't feel too claustrophobic. I think it's 1.02 inside, which is really good. If you're a bit smaller than me and not such a thick pad, you may even be able to sit up. And there's some really cool features in here as well. So you can see my smelly socks hanging from the top up here. You've actually got a little clothesline if you need to dry kit out at night. There are store pockets everywhere. I've got my head torch up in this bungee pocket up here. We've got two big ones here for just shoving your little storage bags. I love the way they've even thought about this. If you've got a charger with you, which you might well do over multiple days, but little holes so you can even get the wire sticking out and use your phone while it's charging. They've changed the style of the door, so it's like a big long triangle, which makes it much easier to do up, and you can sort of do it even if it's dark, because there's no getting around corners. I believe it also makes the opening a bit bigger as well. There's loads of space, easy to get in and out. And of course, same with the old one, you've got a door per person and a vestibule or porch per person, which you can store your bag in, loads of space. So for something so light, it's just awesome how much space there is in here. Both the tents have a bathtub style footprint that obviously just comes up a bit, fully waterproof, either moving onto the nylon or mesh, depending on the tent. You can see here with the LT, you've got quite a big space here in your porch. I've got a huge 60-litre bag there. Swallows that, no problem, and I could still get in. That gives you enough space to cook as well if you're staying overnight and the weather's grim outside. Ventilation on both tents is brilliant. Obviously a bit of airflow through here, but this little vent here can be opened or closed depending on how much breathability you need. A little sort of pole will stick out and Velcro here, hold it nice open. And inside on both the tents there's a bit of mesh so it can flow through the tent. Because the rain fly on both the tents attaches to the crossbars sort of grommets here, what that does allow you to do, other than the headspace it gives you of course, is do this folding back sort of the canopy. Now that's really cool for a couple of reasons, particularly with the LT, because if it's a really hot night or you're stargazing but you want to keep the midges and the bugs away, it's really nice that you can just look up, full airflow. If any rain comes in the night, just jump out, really quick to pull it back over and close it all up again. I think that leads me on quite nicely to the main differences between the two tents, the LT and the HD. As you can now see that I've pulled that back, the LT, the lightweight, is completely mesh. So obviously it's got the bathtub at the bottom, but then it moves onto this solution dyed, really light mesh. So that's great for the obvious reason that it's lighter. So what did we say is 1.34 kilograms. The other one is 1.61 kilograms. But you might think, I mean, it's not a huge weight saving. Why would you go for mesh, which might get wet if you're putting it up and it's taking you a long time in your tent versus keeping a bit more weather out? Well, simply ventilation. So obviously lighter, but more ventilation as well. So if it's really hot, particularly sleeping in countries where it's boiling, you just need to keep as cool as you can, a lot more airflow with a tent like this. So with the HD, the heavy duty, of course, we've got this nylon upper. If you are putting it up and it's drizzling or raining, it will run off for a little while, the water on there, so you're not getting wet inside before you put the rainfly over the top. And of course, this nylon will trap a bit more air in, so it'll feel a little bit warmer. I do like the fact it has got some mesh though, so particularly where that vent was I showed you on the outside, so you get some airflow in there. If you are putting it up in the drizzle or in the rain, it's unlikely much rain is going to get through there and get your gear wet. The rain flies for both these tents are 20 denier, but you actually get a higher level of waterproofing with the HD. This is 3,000mm hydrostatic head, and we've got 1,200 millimeter head for their lightweight. So again, there's a difference with the bathtub floors of the tents. So in the LT, the lighter one, we've got a 20 denier ripstop nylon that has a hydrostatic head of 1,800 mil. And on the heavy duty, we've got a 30D ripstop nylon with a hydrostatic head of 6,000. So just for reference, while I've been talking about the weights throughout, I've mentioned their minimum weights. If you take everything you're given, which not everyone will, You do get a little bit heavier, so 1.54 for the lightweight and 1.8 for the HD. That's with everything. Of course, all the features and tech, even things I might have missed, are listed on our website. And if you get a chance, come into the shop, we'll pop it up and you can see how spacious they are for yourself. So our best-selling tent just got better. What's not to love about these two? Super easy to put up, really versatile, very light. You've got slightly more weatherproof and a bit warmer, or ultralight and really breathable. Which one's for you? Why don't you leave a note in the comments? And if you like this video, check out all our videos and maybe consider subscribing.